Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am so excited because I'm going to be talking all about the Chantecaille Sylvie sale, which is happening. It doesn't actually start until the 28th, but I have early access for you so you can begin to shop the sale on July 25th, which is super exciting. I also have an early access code that you can use, which I would super appreciate if you do use my code. I will leave it above, but it is Lisa SS25, and you can go ahead and use that for early access to the sale. I'd really appreciate it if you do use my code. I truly do appreciate it. It means so much to me. And let's just get started on the sale. So I do want to mention that everything is 25% off site-wide until July 31st, excluding Give Back Beauty. So all the kind of philanthropy items will not be for sale. And then orders over $600 get an exclusive Rose Tote while supplies last. So I'm just going to talk about my top Chantecaille products. I wanted to make sure that all the products that I mentioned were in stock. So at the time of this video, these items are in stock. And I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start with the face. And one of my favorite Chantecaille items is the Ultra Smoothing Primer. Now, this is called something else in the United States. I think it's the Ultra Sunscreen Protection Primer. It's something with sunscreen in it. But it does have a different name because in Canada, we can't really claim SPF on products. We just have really strict laws with the SPF. This is truly an incredible primer. And even though it does contain an SPF in it, it works very well as a primer. And if I'm going to be priming my skin, I think it's important. Like, I'd rather use a primer that contains an SPF just because it is important for me to protect my skin from the SPF. I know that some people don't wear sunscreen, but for me, I like to, so that's just a personal preference. But my favorite thing about this primer is that even though it does give me SPF protection, it also has the most incredible smoothing effect on the skin. So if you are someone that really struggles with texture on your skin, this is such a beautiful smoothing primer. It really smooths out the area of texture and pores on your skin. It gives you sort of a filtered effect on your skin without adding any coverage or any sort of color. Now, this is an extremely liquidy primer, so you do have to give it a good shake and you do have to work with it quickly because when it comes out, it is quite liquidy and it will run really fast. So you do have to blend it into the skin, and it does feel quite hydrating upon initial application, but it has a really nice velvety dry down, so it doesn't feel greasy or anything. It doesn't look oily throughout the day or anything like that either, but it just is such a beautiful smoothing primer. I really like it because, again, it's not adding color or coverage to the skin, but it does add that perfecting effect to your skin. So if you're someone that doesn't like to wear foundation, especially in the hotter months, then this would be a great option for you. I just really love this primer. And I had to mention a Chantecaille foundation because I think Chantecaille does face products really well. All their complexion products are really beautiful. And my favorite type of makeup is something that is your skin but better. It's kind of your skin but enhanced. I really like that kind of no makeup vibe. I like that natural glam kind of look, and Chantecaille just does those products beautifully. And if you're looking for a new foundation that really lets your skin shine through, then this foundation is for you. This is the Chantecaille Future Skin Oil-Free Gel Foundation. I do wear the shade Cream, and this one is pretty much a dead-on match for me. You can see how much I have used this, if you can see that. It is pretty much, I'd say I have like a quarter of the jar left. And I love this foundation because it has such a beautiful consistency to it. It does feel very cooling on the skin, which I really enjoy. And it has such a beautiful texture where it just blends into the skin and it just gives your skin, it definitely adds like a second skin effect. So you can still see your skin shining through, but it does add a little bit of blurring onto the skin. So it will look like your skin, but better. It will blur out any texture on the skin or anything like that, but it will give you a very natural coverage. So you're still gonna be able to see blemishes or imperfections shining through if you do suffer with that. So if you do suffer with imperfections or blemishes or anything where you require a bit more coverage, then you just need to go in with a facial concealer after you've applied this product. But it just does such a beautiful job of evening out the skin, and it's so skin-like and so beautiful. And even though it does still retain that skin-like appearance, it's not greasy throughout the day. This actually wears really well, And I really enjoy that in the summertime because I like something that feels incredibly lightweight on the skin, but that I can wear all day long without it becoming greasy or falling apart or anything like that. And if you really want that appearance of not wearing makeup, then this is a fantastic foundation because it does perfect the skin without it looking like actual makeup on your skin. So I like to wear this when I'm going to be outside maybe, where I don't actually want you to be able to tell that I have makeup sitting on top of my skin. This is just such a fantastic, fantastic foundation. I just think this is a perfect any occasion foundation because it looks good for all events. And then next up, I have the Chantecaille Real Bronze in Sirena. So there are two shades available. There is Sirena and Goa. I like Sirena because it's a little bit more of a golden tone and it's a little bit lighter. And I like golden tones on my skin personally versus Goa, which is more of a red toned bronzer. I just think Sirena is a little bit more flattering. And if you can tell, I have actually hit pan on this bronzer. So for someone to actually hit pan on a bronzer, I think you can tell how much I like this. I do have a backup of this bronzer as well. I just love this formula. This is a baked gelée formula. So it's kind of, when you feel it, it's almost that cream to powder feeling. So there is a swatch of Sirena there. It's just a beautiful bronze tone that has a little bit of warmth to it. And there is a little bit of a sheen to it, but you can't actually detect any shimmer particles. It's just that baked gelée formula offers like a very subtle sheen without adding any shimmer. So it's really beautiful because it does have a skin-like quality to it because your skin isn't completely matte. It does have a little bit of a sheen to it. And this bronzer gives me that perfect skin-like quality. It looks like your skin, but bronzed. And the formula of this is truly magical because, again, this is a big gelée. You are going to require a bit of a denser brush to pick product up. So my favorite brush is the Refer 22 brush, which is quite dense. So you can pick up product better with a more dense brush. So you just can go in with a heavier hand. But when you apply it onto the skin, my favorite thing about big gelées is that once applied onto the skin, they apply like a powder product because they are technically a powder. But they have this capability of just melting into your skin. Once it kind of hits your skin and warms up on your skin, it almost melts into your skin and you're not going to be able to like detect bronzer sitting on top of your skin. It's just gonna look like a really natural bronzed effect. Very similar to if you were to apply a cream bronzer. It gives you that sort of effect where it just melts into the skin and you can't detect any sort of patchiness or anything like that. It just really melts into the skin beautifully. I don't feel like you need to buff in your product after you've applied this sort of product, but it is easier to apply than a cream because it is a powder. I just think this formula is beautiful. Again, this is another bronzer that would be great if you are going to be spending time outdoors because it's a bronzer you can't see sitting on top of the skin. So it looks really beautiful in natural light, which I think is really important because you want your skin to look beautiful indoors as well as outdoors. I just can't get enough of this bronzer. It's beautiful. This is just one of the best bronzers on the market. I highly recommend this if you haven't tried it out yet. The formula is just unbeatable. And one of my favorite Chantecaille products of all time, this is the Chantecaille Perfect Blur Finishing Powder. So this was actually limited edition packaging. And I do have a backup because when this was still a limited edition product, I picked up backups whenever this was released. So I also picked up the Flower Power. I think this was the Flower Power. Yeah, it was the Flower Power packaging. So I have this already as a backup. And this one you can tell I love because I have hit pan in it. And it is also kind of crumbling a little bit, but I'm keeping these pieces because that's how much I love this powder. But I've hit pan in this. This is just such a beautiful blurring powder. It is exactly what it is called, the perfect blur. It does give you the perfect blur. The perfect blurred effect. So it really does a great job, especially if you have texture on your skin. If you just stamp this in the front of your face, it is such a beautiful powder. It's a really thin powder as well. This is a baked powder, so it sits on the skin very beautifully. It doesn't look heavy at all, and it does add a slight bit of coverage, which I like, especially if I am having a bit more skin issues. Then I can go in with this powder and this will add just, it doesn't add a lot of coverage, but it does add just a slight bit more coverage than what you already have on your skin. So this is really great if I'm going to be going out or anything like that, because then it just adds a bit more of a perfected look to my skin. This is a great finishing powder. I usually apply this at the end of the makeup, like at the end of the steps, and I'll go in with a really dense brush. This is the Sonia G Master Face, and I'll just get that powder on a brush, and I'll just stamp it into the front of my face, maybe the front of my forehead, the middle of my forehead, middle of my chin, any areas where I want to reduce that texture on my skin. And because there is a bit of a peachiness to this powder, if you have any discoloration on the center of your face, this also will kind of help counteract that as well. It's just such a beautiful powder with a really beautiful formula. Highly, highly recommend this. And this is just one of my favorite pressed powders on the market. I feel like when I have a backup of products, you can tell how much I really like something. But this does come in permanent packaging now. It's kind of like a pebbled shape. So it is permanent product, but I would get it at a discount while you can because it's just a must-have powder in my collection. It's something that I use all the time. Next on my must-have list are the Chantecaille Mermaid eye colors. I do have 3 of them here. So I have Sylvie, Seashell, and Copper. Sylvie is actually a matte shade, but it's a matte, again, that's not completely matte. It has like a very subtle sheen to it. And I think, again, it's this formula. This formula is really nice. It has this creaminess. It's like a cream to powder. So that is Sylvie there. It's a very beautiful neutral shade. Doesn't lean too warm, doesn't lean too cool. It's just very beautiful. And then we have Seashell, which is a gorgeous kind of champagne shade. More of a golden champagne. Really beautiful if you like something that is just super neutral nude. That's just going to give you a beautiful sheen on the eyes. But my favorite shade of all is the shade Copper, which is just my favorite one and done eyeshadow look. It is what I am wearing on my eyes today. I wear this at least once a week because I just think it is the most beautiful, beautiful shade and the most beautiful formula. So that is the shade Copper there. And you can just see it gives a beautiful glow without it being intense glitter particles. There is absolutely no glitter flecks to this. This is a very sophisticated glow. This is a sophisticated shimmer on the eyes. It's very elegant. It is just the most perfect shimmer. So again, it is kind of that cream to powder formula. So when you feel these shadows, they do have a creaminess to them, but they apply beautifully. They don't actually, like they're not actually a cream eyeshadow. They just apply like a cream to powder. And they're very, very long wearing as well. I never have any issues with creasing or anything like that. And I just love the glow that they give because it does have some sort of intensity to it without it being over the top. So I really think this is any occasion appropriate. I can wear this to work without it feeling like I'm wearing a glittery eyeshadow and it's just too much. I can wear this going out for dinner without it feeling like it's not enough, maybe glam for going out. It's just perfect for any occasion you want to wear it without feeling like you're over the top or anything. Just such a beautiful formula. If you do have more mature eyes, I feel like this type of shimmer formula would really sit on mature eyes very beautifully as well. I actually got my mom to buy the shade Copper and she loves it as well. And she is in her 60s and she really enjoys it. So I feel like this also works for any sort of age bracket as well. I just love this formula. I think it is beautiful. And if you are someone like me who doesn't really go for eyeshadow palettes or quads very often, these Mermaid eye colors are just beautiful. This formula is lovely. This is kind of the only eyeshadow I really need. It's just perfect. So if you are looking for a new one and done eyeshadow, which again is kind of my perfect sort of summer makeup look, I just love to apply one shade and be done. These are absolutely phenomenal. Highly suggest that you try these out if you haven't tried this formula yet. Now moving on to mascara, Chantecaille has one of my favorite mascara formulas of all time. Such a beautiful one, and I would recommend getting this when you can get that discount because this is quite a pricey mascara. In Canada, this is like, I think it's $100. So I would get the discount while you can. So this is the Chantecaille, the Faux Cils Longest Lash Mascara. They actually did send me a backup, so thank you so much, Chantecaille, because I absolutely love this mascara. So what I really love about this formulation is that it actually contains peptides in this mascara that will really help strengthen and grow your lashes. Now, I also do use a lash serum. I want to fully disclose that, so I don't think that I get my lash growth specifically just from this mascara. But it does help that it does have that peptide in this formula as well. And I just really love this formula because I feel like the brush is perfect for getting length and volume to your lashes without your lashes looking spidery. Like, I'm very impressed with the length and volume that I get from this mascara without it being over the top, because sometimes when mascaras both add length and volume to your lashes, they start to look a little spidery and a little bit too intense. But I feel like this formula just adds the perfect amount of volume and separation. And this is really great on the bottom lashes as well, because this is one of the only mascara formulations that I have found that does not smudge throughout the day. So it's a very long-lasting formula as well, which I really appreciate, especially in the summer months when I tend to have a little bit of transfer from mascara. This does not do that. And even though this mascara, I think it's only supposed to be good for 6 months, I have had this mascara for probably 8 to 9 months, and it's still, this formula is still just as good from when I opened it. Now, I'm not saying you should keep your mascara that long, but for me, it lasts that long, and I like that I can get the most out of this mascara, and it never, because sometimes when you have mascaras, it will be really good for the first 3 months, and then after the first 3 months, it kind of goes downhill. This stays very consistent. Now, the really unique thing that I like about this mascara is that it does actually contain a conditioning rose oil in this. And you would think that if a mascara contained rose oil, you think that it would probably transfer, but this never smudges or transfer like I noted. But the other thing that I really like about that is that it makes this mascara incredibly buildable, because I do have a very specific look that I like my lashes to have, and I can really build this up without it. Sometimes with mascaras, you can feel them, like they actually feel kind of crunchy and they feel thick. But this just feels so light, no matter how many coats of mascara I add. But whenever I add a new coat of mascara, I'm not getting that thickness and that spideriness. It just adds a bit more length and a bit more volume, but in a very sophisticated way. That might sound weird for your lashes, but I think that's important to have in a mascara. And then the final product I want to mention is the Chantecaille Lip Cheeks. Now, my favorite shade is the shade Patience, but they have some other really beautiful shades as well. Now, I absolutely love this formula, and during the sale, actually, you know what, I'm going to mention what I'm going to be picking up at the sale at the end of the video, but I do want to pick up another shade, but my favorite shade is the shade Patience. So this is just a beautiful, I don't even know if you're going to be able to really see it. It's a perfect peachy nude. It's a peachy pink nude. It is my absolute perfect nude shade. I love it. And my favorite thing about this is, well, like I said, this is my perfect nude shade. I like that it's not too nude where it looks like I have concealer lips, but it's not too dark, because sometimes I find nude lipsticks can just be a little bit too dark. I like something that adds like a little bit of brightness to my lips, but I don't want it to be on the verge of concealer lips territory. But my favorite thing about this is actually the formula of this. So it's a really comfortable formula. If you're looking for a really long-lasting lipstick, this is not the formula for you. This feels very comfortable. It almost just feels like a tinted lip gloss. You can just apply it without even looking in the mirror, because it is so lightly pigmented and just so comfortable. And I just love how this feels. It's very conditioning on your lips. Sometimes if you apply a normal satin lipstick, at the end of the day, your lips will feel dry. They will feel like they need some conditioning. But when you apply this lip product, it just feels like you have conditioning on your lips already. So once it fades away, your lips remain feeling very comfortable. They feel like, your lips still feel like they're intact, essentially. You feel like they still have moisture to your lips, which I really enjoy in a lip product. And I don't mind if I have to touch up a lip product, as long as it remains comfortable throughout the day, because to me, that's the most important thing. I hate when my lips feel dry. It's just a pet peeve of mine. And I really like how conditioned and healthy my lips feel while I wear this. It just gives a slight tint of product. So again, if you're looking for something full coverage, this isn't for you. This gives you a sheer tint. And I really enjoy that, because I like my lip products, again, to be more natural. I like things to be a little bit more on the sheer side. And I would just suggest you pick one of these up. If there's a color that speaks to you, then I would definitely suggest it, because I just am mostly speaking about the formula of this product. It is just something that is a must-have in my makeup collection, and I love it. So that is it for all my Chantecaille recommendations for the Sylvie sale that is coming up, but I'm going to mention what I will be picking up during the sale, just in case you are interested. So I do want to pick up the anti-aging skin tint. I know that that was released, I think it was in their summer collection, and I've just been really interested because some of my favorite priming products are like the By Terry CC serum. I also really enjoy the Victoria Beckham primer. But the Chantecaille skin tint, the anti-aging skin tint, seems very, very similar. It comes in like a jar, kind of like the Future Skin Foundation does. And I think it comes with a separate brush. I'll just be purchasing the skin tint because I'm really curious to see how it compares to some of my other favorite formulas. And I really like that it's an anti-aging formula. So I'm very curious to see how I enjoy that as a priming product. I don't know if it's going to add any coverage or anything, but of course I will show you a video once I get that. And then I also am interested in picking up the highlighter. I'm not sure 100% if I'll be picking it up because it is limited edition. So I know that once it's gone, I probably won't be using it, especially on my channel. But the reason why I really want it is because it looks like my perfect kind of one and done shade. The formula looks very similar to, like, it's a Baked Chalet formula. So those are my favorite highlighters. And I like that I could use it on the face and the eyes. I feel like that is something that I would use a lot for traveling, just because then it would kind of condense two products into one. So I am interested in that. Not 100% sure if I will be buying that. So please, if you have tried that Chantecaille highlighter out, please let me know your thoughts down below. And then I also want to pick up another lip Chic, and I think the shade, I'm kind of debating between two, either Bourbon Rose or Tea Rose. So again, let me know if you have either of those shades. I would love to know your thoughts, but they look like the perfect kind of everyday sort of nude shade. They look very similar to the shade Patience, but like a shade or two deeper. So I'd like to just have something that's a little bit deeper so that I can maybe wear it without a lip liner underneath. I just feel like that would be kind of the perfect kind of beachy nude lip. And that is it for everything that I'm thinking of purchasing. Unless you have some recommendations down below, please let me know, because I would love to hear from you. If you can get that early access with my code LisaSS25, again, I would really appreciate it if you use my code. Please let me know down below if you have any recommendations for me, because of course I would love to hear your recommendations for your favorite Chantecaille products. Thank you to Chantecaille for sending me a few products. Now I do want to mention, I did not mention skincare in this video because they actually did send me some skincare to test out, but I haven't even had a full month to test it out, and I feel like I need at least 3 months minimum to test out skincare before I recommend it. So maybe that will be in an upcoming favorites video, but I just wanted to throw out that disclaimer there. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you like it, and I will see you in my next video.